Hello, and welcome to Getting Going on Azure with DataGriff. And today we're going to be looking at IoT hubs and connecting to a Raspberry Pi simulator to send messages to it, which is really cool. We're going to do all of this in the Azure portal. So the first thing I want you to do is navigate to portal.azure.com. Once you're there, click the little hamburger in the top left-hand corner. Go to All Services. In All Services, type IoT. Go to IoT Hub. Click Create. Now on the basic configuration pane, we're just going to choose our subscription, and for me it's my DataGriff one. For the resource group, I'm going to click Create New, and I'm just going to call it My IoT RG, with RG standing for Resource Group. I'm going to click OK, and I pick a region close to me, so choose the most appropriate one to you. I'm going to go with North Europe. And then my IoT Hub name, I'm just going to call this My IoT 1, EUN for North Europe, and then I'm just going to postfix it with Griff, as I do with most of my resources, just to give them a chance of being unique. And so that's absolutely fine. I've got my green tick. We're going to go to networking, and we're just going to leave it as a public endpoint, because we're just doing this as a proof of concept. We're not going to change anything under management. We're just going to check that the pricing and scale is just standard tier. Then we're not going to add any tags. We're going to click Review and Create, wait for it to validate. The validation has passed, so it's great. We can create our IoT Hub now. So we're going to go down here, click Create. So that's going to start deploying our IoT Hub, and that's going to take a few minutes. Awesome. Our IoT Hub is now deployed, so we're going to go to our resource. There you go, here's our IoT Hub, and we can see it's in our resource group, My IoT RG. And now what we want to do is add some IoT devices to our hub. So on the left hand side, if you go down to IoT Devices and you click that, and what we're going to do is create a new IoT device, and we're just going to call it a Raspberry Pi, and we're going to use the Raspberry Pi simulator to send messages to our IoT hub. But you could use a real Raspberry Pi, which is the real cool thing that this can do. So we're going to click New, and we're just going to call this My Raspberry Pi. We're going to leave all of the defaults as they are, and we're just going to click Save. So there's our new device, our Raspberry Pi, and we're going to use the Azure Raspberry Pi Web Simulator to send messages to this device. So I'm going to add a new tab, and I'm going to go to the Azure Samples for Raspberry Pi Web Simulator. I'll put the link with the video. And with this, we've got this connection string ready to use. So it says your IoT Hub device connection string. So what we want to do now is grab our new device connection string, and what we want to do is start sending messages to our IoT Hub. So we're going to go back, we're going to click on our Raspberry Pi device, and then what we're going to do is grab the primary connection string. So we're going to copy that back to the simulator. Where it's got that IoT Hub device connection string, we're going to remove it. We're going to paste in our connection string. And then what we're going to do is click Run. And what that'll do is start sending some temperature and humidity messages to our IoT Hub. So you can see these start generating down here, raspberry and humidity. So we should find we start getting some messages on our IoT Hub. So we're going to go back to the Azure portal. We're going to go back to our hub. And then we're going to go back to Overview now, over the entire hub. And then if we scroll down, we get these little metrics. And we should find in a few moments that the number of messages should increase. And to make it a bit easier to see, I'm going to say Show Data for the last hour. And in a few moments, we should see that these graphs start spiking as the messages from our Raspberry Pi simulator start coming in. So there we go. We can see the graph starting to come up now. We've got some messages coming in. So you can see for the last hour, we've just got our first 2 messages. And we've also got 30 down there, so some of the graphs are a little bit behind. But it does show that we've got messages coming onto our IoT Hub, which is great. So you could hook this up to a real Raspberry Pi or other Internet of Things devices and start getting some important information sent to your IoT Hub. What we're going to do now is go back to the simulator. We're going to stop. We're going to go back into our resource group. And as we're not using this anymore, and we want to save some costs, we just did this as a quick demo. We're going to scroll up, and we're going to go to the resource group. We're going to copy the resource group name, and we're just going to clear up. So we're going to delete the resource group. So I hope you enjoyed that today on Getting Going on Azure with Datagriff. IoT Hubs are a great thing to connect devices to and start collecting useful information, or just for fun. So I hope to see you next time.